Welcome to the Love Power Show. I'm Wallace Red, and give us a call right here at 901-452-3094. Or you can call us on the other line, 901-324-7490. We've got Talut El Amin on the panel with us today. Isaac in the studio. Dan on camera, and we thank you so much. Omar Baruch, I spoke with him. He's on his way. Walking in the door. I like that. I'm going to write me a rap song called Walking in the Door. Huh? Get Talut to put me some lyrics to it. And Omar to put some poetry on it. Come on out. Coming out. Hey, look. As we spoke yesterday, Omar and I, a lot to talk about, a lot in the news. People in the world are getting crazy. But we've got good sense right here. We're going to make sense out of all of it. We've got Donald Trump saying he's going back into the White House in the next few days. Actually, he said August, and that'll be here pretty soon. So we'll be looking out for that, won't we? And we've got in the news, they're still talking about the insurrection. Yes, they are. So we're going to touch on all of this stuff. Haven't talked to Judge Joe Brown. Give him a call, Isaac, and tell him to call in. We've got problem solving. Last week we spent the whole hour and a half on financial literacy, did we not? But today, and I love it because we have plenty of material. We plan off plenty of material, so we'll be ready next week, and the following week, and the week after that. Call us right here at 901-452-3094, or you may call 901-324-7490. Call me up personally and say, Wallace Red, you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, tell them that racism still don't exist.
Tell them it still doesn't exist?
Yeah.
All right.
It really doesn't exist.
I love that. I'll put that in my song too.
Yeah.
I'll put that in my song.
Yeah.
Now, call me up and say, and do like Tim Scott said, this is not a racist country. But even the white man is saying that it's, some of them anyway, it's a racist country. Hey, did you see Tom Hanks last night? Tom Hanks said the white people need to learn black folks' history, the American African history. That's what the white man, Tom Hanks.
Right.
Yeah, you know. And so we've got a lot to talk about, but let's get on problem solving. And then let's get on relationships. And we've talked about relationships because as a people, that's very important to us. It is not, Talut.
It's very important.
It's very important.
It's very important. Top of the line.
That's why, look here. You read my mind.
Right.
Top of the line. Top of the line. Omar, where's Omar? Okay, he's right here. I want to wait till you come back, Omar. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Look like they're conducting a little business.
All right.
So, look like he's on the way.
Oh, okay.
Let's go. Omar, you solved many problems in your life, especially doing the work that you do with NACA. And what are some of the problems? Just go through it. Family problems, problems in life, problems with NACA, children. You know, tomorrow night, Anderson Cooper's doing a special with Barack Obama on fatherhood, leadership, and legacy. I was thinking about that. I don't know if we need to touch on legacy other than what it means. But fatherhood and leadership, I think, is something that will be important to this panel. Take it away, Omar.
You know, inside of NACA, I see a lot of problems. But those problems are kind of like a pandemic in the black community. Most of the people that come through NACA that I've gotten approved of our house have been single women head of household. And when I ask them about the man in the picture, either he doesn't exist or if he does exist, he's in the shadows and she doesn't want him on her lawn. Because she feels like he may be a temporary, in a temporary position.
I know that's right.
And she don't want no permanent attachment to somebody who don't plan on staying there. or he might be hanging on the fringe, and she just got him there for, for just temporary purposes, but he ain't doing enough to say, hey, I'm 100% in. But if you look at what it causes, and you think about that, in the black community, the financial experts say that over $1 trillion flows through the hands of black people every year. If you take that $1 trillion and look at it in terms of countries around the world with wealth, America would, black people in America would be one of the largest wealth countries in the world if they made a country themselves. They would be ahead of the country of Canada, which is right above us, because of our wealth. But who do we spend it on? Where does the money go? If we kept the money in our community and let it bounce a few times, we could almost eliminate unemployment. Right now it's very high. We could just about eliminate poverty. But we give our money to people who don't look like us, who don't care about us, and the money doesn't stay in our community long enough to benefit us. But and I see that in those bank statements. When I'm analyzing a bank statement to see if they can qualify for a mortgage through the NACA program, I'm trying to help them revamp how they're spending their money. The spending patterns is what's killing us. And if they would quit spending, then they could own something instead of renting something. But they insist on spending things that really have no substantive value for us. So when I see those problems, my job is to help them, re-navigate the funds that's going through their hands and learn, get a kind of a sense of financial literacy so they can qualify to buy a house. And there are hundreds in my 4 years in NACA that have actually changed the way they handle money, and they give that testimony at the events that we talk about. They didn't have any sense of saving money. They come to the events, and when they've gotten their keys to the house, all that's changed. The whole mindset's changed. They talk about not the hundreds of dollars they have in their account all the time, but the thousands of dollars they have in their account all the time, because they never saved money, never saw a need to save it. And they also cut their spending in areas that they felt like they had to impress somebody. Now these are things I want to do to fix myself, not to fit your vision to me, but my own vision of myself. But again, that financial literacy piece is critical in anybody's civilization. And once we fix it, then this whole black nation can move forward. The black nation is inside this white nation right here, can move forward to a better future for ourselves and our children. It also can fix that piece where the black man is on the fringe. We can fix that piece as well, because right now he's out on the edge. And most of the time when I'm doing somebody's process to get them into a home, he's out on the edge or he doesn't exist.
Omar, you seem to be hopeful, optimistic about the African American, because you said once we fix. So I've got 3 questions for you. I hate to do you like that, but you said some profound things, and I want to dig into them a little more. Now, why is it that you're so hopeful in light of what we're facing as a people?
I see people waking up. I see Black Lives Matter, but it's even beyond Black Lives Matter. I see people waking up. And when I see them waking up, and then I also see the Republican Party in particular, but white people in general, trying to put us back to sleep. And that's why I have my friend Kepler, who's part of the Juneteenth celebration. What we got to do, and what we're gearing up to do, even more at a greater level, is to teach our own history, so that we can know what we went through, and then where we come from and where we're going. Because if you don't know your history, you're subject to repeat the history. So you got to know where you came from. You got to know where you are, and you got to know where you're going. So when we go back to the history, because Jews celebrate their history every chance they get. Their children know what happened to them. They know how they got here. They know where they're going in life. We don't do that. We want to take the white man's history. That's not our history. Our history didn't start with slavery. But if you go back to your history, your historical roots, and you know who you are as a people, then you won't think that lowness about yourself, that you're worth nothing, you're worthless, and if your white people don't pat you on the head, you still ain't worth nothing. Once you find out you have value outside of that, you had value before you invented the white man. You had value. Then you take a whole different view of the world and a view of yourself, and also how you handle your finances. All that changes. But you got to have a world view of you in a real world, because the world they paint for you is not you. Slavery is not our beginning. That's a bump in the road. Okay, we try to still navigate around. But we get around it we can go back to our roots, our real roots in Mother Africa, and then come forward to our real place on the throne in Black America.
Now, you also said that people have changed.
Yes.
And how, well, you don't have to go into all of the ways that you help people change, but give us one of the key points, the master points that you help people in ways in which you help people change.
The spending patterns is the biggest problem. Eating out. I mean, they call it junk food. Why do they call it junk food? Because it's junk that they masquerade as food. And if you go to a real doctor, a medical doctor, and like I went to Community First, Christ First Community Health Center, they give you a flyer when you go, no matter what reason you come there for, they give you a flyer. And the first thing on the flyer said the #1 killer of Americans is the food we eat. And they name the foods. These are foods you have in your refrigerator right now. Bacon, ham, sausage, hamburgers. Those things are killing you, and this is not the gun that's in the street, but this is the food in your refrigerator.
Right.
The #1 killer.
Right.
And if that's the #1 killer and it's killing you, then why are you allowing it to come in your house? Since you're gonna die from it. So yeah, I see a greatly diminished amount of people who are eating junk food. Michael Kruger's pocketbooks. I ain't gonna against the man because he's gay. He is gay. I know you're a Christian. And you know God don't like that behavior. But why would you pay $500 for a pocketbook that if you went to the source where they make the pocketbook, you can get it for $10 or $15? Why would you pay $200 for some Jordans who happen to be married to a Caucasian woman? You couldn't find a sister. I know it's over 5 billion people on earth and over half of them are women. So you got 2.5 billion women to choose from and most of them have got some color. But you couldn't find one.
Right.
I understand.
Right.
I mean,
But that's 90% that have cover.
90% tolerant.
90%.
Well, I want to turn.
95%.
All right. Well, I want to turn to you on that question. And you say it's 90%, maybe 95%.
Yeah, right.
So,
color.
right. So what happens in scenarios like this?
We still talking about relationship.
We're still talking about.
See, we can't get away from it. You know, in other words,
Let's mix it in with the problem solving.
Dr. Omar said the #1 problem is money.
money.
In essence, right?
Right.
Finance.
Right.
The brother can't come home because he ain't committed.
That's right.
That's money.
He on the
right? Okay.
He's on the
So
front.
almost everything that we engage in is about relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so what as a people we have to come to grip with, we didn't create the relationship scenario for African American people. Master gave that to us
Right.
300 years ago, and we still add value to what Master gave us.
Yes.
Okay, we don't devalue it like we're supposed to, and then create our own relationship scenarios.
That's right.
We take what Master gave us, because when Master gives you something, it's like God gave it to you, so you got to hold on to it. So when Master give us this relationship scenarios, we make it real. We build upon it and have been doing it for decades. We have not engaged in our relationship yet. In our homes, if the husband demands that his wife does something and she said, I'm not going to do it, if it gets heated, she can pick up the phone and call Master. Master, that boy ain't doing right up in here. Master gonna come to the door, beat that boy down, throw him out of the house, and tell him he need to go get counseling. That's the exact same thing that happened 300 years ago. When Master gave that boy, that woman, that girl, Master was in charge of that relationship. That boy couldn't do nothing to that girl. That girl could go right back to the big house and say, Master, that boy down there, he ain't acting right. Master gonna send one of his boys down to that house, drag that boy out of that house, put him over the barrel, have all them out there looking, witnessing, hold him over the barrel, And we know what that means this day and time. Get that boy right, so he won't come against that girl like that.
Right. Now, let me ask you this. Since you said that, what is the implications of that? Is that the major problem in the relationships we face because, therefore, our women basically have no respect for us because during that time we could not protect them or save them, neither our children? Is that, do I hear you saying that?
Yeah, I'm saying that.
Yes.
But I'm saying also we have no respect for the women.
Okay. If we did, what would we do?
Well, see, Master didn't want respect. It wasn't about respect. It was about multiplying. It was about breeding. It was about breeding, taking offsprings and selling them. It was not about get along brother, sister, okay? And it's the same way today. Now,
before you go any further,
sure.
Was this designed for free labor? I think
this was
when
designed,
we get into that, we run into work from sun up to sundown,
exactly.
and free labor. Is that a part of it?
Yes,
I want us to. I really want us to dig into that so that we can understand what we are doing in this particular country and how to fix it. In other words, I want to bring up the question of compass to both of you all. But continue, Tyler.
Yes, the labor is in America. The labor is always a part of the control of the country and control of the world. America's GDP, gross domestic product, is the highest in the world.
Yes.
It's $23 trillion, $24 trillion per year. Okay? How did it get there? How did that happen? That happened because of the African American slave trade. African Americans, black Americans, made, because of their labor, this nation the #1 GDP of the world. Okay, now, in contrast, one of the lowest annual salary of African Americans in the world is right in America at $15,000 a year. Okay, now put that together. A GDP of 24 trillion and a year, and African Americans getting 15,000 a year out of that pot. Now think about that.
Sure.
Don't we understand as a people that we do not understand how much wealth is in America and why the white boys fight so hard to keep you on the bottom? Because as long as you're on the bottom, the GDP is going to increase, and who controls the gross domestic product?
Okay.
The white boys.
The overall economy.
Yes.
Okay. Let me turn back to you. You have
one more point.
Go ahead, sir.
One more point in the relationship and finance. This is J.A. Rogers, who wrote a great set of books in his lifetime.
Yes.
Great anthropologist and ethnologist and sociologist, African American.
He did.
J.A. Rogers said that through his studies, if the black man earned the same amount of money that the white man earns, the black man would make a better husband and a better father.
Say that again?
Say it again, sure.
Yeah.
J.A. Rogers stated, and you all can Google this and find out who J.A. Rogers is, because most of us don't know this man. But this man was a great instrument for black folk.
I know who he is.
He said this.
I know who he was.
Right, who he was. He said, J.A. Rogers said, that if a black man and a white man made the same amount of money on their jobs, the black man would make a better father and a better husband than the white man.
Okay.
And we always think that in reverse. No.
Right.
Studies clearly indicate different.
In regards to J.A. Rogers, Joel Augustus Rogers, by full pronunciation, Sex and Race.
Yes.
World's Great Men of Color. Which
Right.
There were some women in that book.
Right.
And
From
sex,
man to Superman.
and from man to
I
Superman.
mean, from Superman to man.
From Superman to man, and not only that, sex and race, and that's when he was talking about the point that you just
Yes.
made. But Omar, earlier you said something that made me think about compass. But here's two questions. How do we, let's try to get into the solution, which you definitely got into it in your last commentary, but I want to get into it to some more with this question. And this question is, how do we get our people who look like us to recognize, based on what Tyler said, how important we are to ourselves, and let's take it further, to this economy. And the other thing is, when you were speaking, I heard the need for a compass, because I think I heard you use the word navigate. And when you navigate, you need a compass. You know, I was listening to a speaker one time, and he was talking about sometimes we don't have a compass and we don't know where in the hell we're going. You said we must know where we come from, and and this will help us know where we're going. Go ahead, sir.
You know, if a people, in order to be, to be a survivalist in this world, you got to know where you came from. If you don't know where you came from, you won't know where you are, and you can't know where you're going.
Right.
You got to know that. So when you go back and study your own history, which is why I want Sister Kepler to call in, because she's on the Juneteenth committee that's for the celebration that's coming up now. We have got to know who we are, got to know where we came from, and got to know what we're all about. Because once you find out, you ain't got to depend on other people to give you self-worth. You were born with it, and you always have had it till they took it away from you, and you can restore it to your own self, because they're not going to restore it to you. Then you don't need to go to a Korean nail shop so they can do your nails for $100 a pop. You don't need to go to those people for anything. You can do all of it in your own community. I love it when I see black contractors doing things for black people. I love it. I love it when I see us hiring us to keep our money inside of our community. And we got to continue to do that, but we don't do enough of it because we're so blind to who we are and what we're capable of doing. They know who we are. That's why they put us on their payroll at the lowest wage they can put us on there for. They know exactly who we are, but we don't know who we are. And sad to say, you'll go and hire somebody that don't look like you, and then they'll bring somebody that look like you to do the job. But you don't, because you don't trust yourself. We got to change that image of ourselves. And once we do that, then we can rise to the top. But until we do that, our money gonna continue to leave the community, going to other places, and never returning to us. I have a young man, not a young man, he's older than I am, a Chinese guy who's the head of the geography department at the University of Memphis. I was his insurance agent when I had my own state insurance agency. And we talked all the time about buying products from his country in China, and also the sister countries, Cambodia and Vietnam. And he was telling me the Nike shoes back then were like $4 a pair. I could buy what they call a container of those shoes, and he could arrange for me to get those shoes at $4 a pair. Back then they were selling for like $100 a pair in retail. Now they're about $200. But he said I could arrange for you to get them if you buy a whole container of them. and what he said made sense. Over in those countries, that's what they buy them for. They don't pay $50 or $100 a pair for no tennis shoes. They buy them just a little bit above what they make them for. We need that kind of trade with our own country, Sister Africa. We can do those manufacturing there, ship them here, and then we can sell them at a reasonable price, and our people would have something that's stylish, but also affordable, and then also return a great return on investment. If Nike is selling shoes for $10 a pair, making them for $10 a pair, and they're selling for $200 a pair, what kind of profit is that? That's unconscionable. But because we like the name, then we'll pay the price, even though it ain't worth the price. There's no leather on it. There's nothing on that says it's worth more than a pair of dress shoes that's made out of leather or alligator or whatever. But we are so convinced, brainwashed to believe that if I wear a pair of Nikes, I'm somebody. You are somebody before they made Nike, and you'll be somebody with Nikes all dead and gone. But our mindset about that has to change. But it has to change first with ourselves. Who are we, and what are we worth, and what gives us worth? That gives us worth, but that's the wrong kind of value that we have. And we shouldn't value things like that. I have people tell me when they come in the office, I said, what's this right here? I had to buy my granddaughter some tennis shoes. How old is she? She's 2 years old. The tennis shoes are $69. She don't care what she wears.
Mhm.
She was some flip-flops. But $69 for that is not a good price. And if you're gonna spend it like that, then it's gonna be very difficult based on your income for you to qualify to get a home. Because your money is being, is being misspent on things that really don't matter. I see people buying things for the house and you ain't even got the house.
Yeah.
One lady bought a $10,000 worth of hardwood floor for a house she didn't qualify to buy.
Mhm.
And then she didn't get the house, but she couldn't return the $10,000 worth of hardwood flooring.
Mhm.
The mindset has to
Yes.
change. That financial literacy has to take place in order for you to be successful in that area of life.
Yes.
And if you don't do that, you're going to be floundering around for decades
Mhm.
trying to get into a home. I had, the first one I got that was a difficult one, the lady had been in NACA 10 years trying to get approved.
Oh, okay. Well, listen, here's something right here.
Okay?
A lot of the work in problem solving, and I printed this off because if you learn how to solve problems effectively and efficiently, then you are also going into solutions. Is that right?
Correct.
This paragraph, this article here says, a lot of the work in problem solving involves understanding what the underlying causes of the problem really are. Not the symptoms. Dealing with a customer complaint may be seen as a problem that needs to be solved, and it's almost certainly a good idea to do so. The employee dealing with the complaint could be asking what has caused the customer to complain in the first place. If the cause of the complaint can be eliminated, then the problem is solved. Then it goes into some of the things that you need: creativity, researching skills, and etc. Let me see what's over here. Researching skills, quite a few. Team working, it says, emotional intelligence, risk management, decision making, and then it asks the question as to what the problem is, and etc. So it says something about the customer and the customer's complaint, and both of you have dealt with customers and complaints. So I'd like to hear something in terms of what you can relate to the article, or just your experience and your knowledge.
And this looks like it pertains to mostly to retail.
Mhm.
When customers have complaints.
Sure it does.
And I listen to complaints, and I try to analyze the real crux of the problem, so I can help them navigate the complaint and get a resolution for it. I don't raise my voice because it doesn't help anything.
Sure.
And I do listen because I really want to analyze, and I want to help them walk through it so they can see what I see, and then we can both come to a resolution of the problem. That's a skill that I've had to develop early in life, and I mean extra early, because I did that when I was at Lamont College dealing with children on the playground, and it just kept going throughout life. But that's something you need those skills every day. You don't just take a side without knowing all the facts. You've got to know what happened, why it happened, and then what we can do to resolve it. And you've got to listen to the person, even if the complaint is illegitimate.
Right. That calls for good listening skills.
Good listening skills. Listen more than you talk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Talu,
Yes.
here's something that says, now this says team working, but it goes beyond, in my mind, beyond retail, because it says something about team working. So if you're in a relationship with your wife or girlfriend or would-be girlfriend, or even with another country in terms of Talu, trade and commerce. So is that called team working? Wouldn't it be
Sure.
team working?
Yeah.
And when you've worked with teams before,
Sure.
you played sports, and in your work and your experience, you worked with teams.
Sure.
Expound for us, if you will.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Teamwork is fundamental in domestic life, family life. Okay. Teamwork is about the future.
Yes.
It's not about like right now. And most of our people accept that family life is what you have done right now. Okay. And you are judged by what you have done right now. Okay, and sometimes you can get kicked out of your family because of what you have done right now. But the bottom line is, and what most ethnicities know, because of their thousands of years of evolution, family life is about the future. It's never about right now. Right now is just an emotional whim. And they also know through thousands of years of culture that an individual is more valuable in the future than they would ever be right now.
Yes, give us some more examples of how it's about the future.
Well,
In terms of birth,
yes,
work,
yes.
inventions. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's about fundamental.
Yes.
You meet someone.
Yes.
A man meet a woman,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Or a woman meets a man.
Yes.
Okay. The world says it's not about right then. It's about what the two are going to accomplish in the realm of a lifetime.
Yes. In terms
50
of
years related.
family.
50 years in that, yeah. No, in terms of wealth.
Okay.
Not, of course, children.
But families can build wealth.
Children are wealth.
And children, because of their the way that parents have taught them to live life and be successful.
Well, it's not about the now scenario. Okay, follow along with me.
Okay.
The wealth is you rear your children properly.
Yes.
They go into the world.
Yes.
They partner with people who are sound-minded, intelligent like they are. They grow and evolve in wealth. Their children do the same thing, and you go on and you evolve your way out of poverty into wealth. You living right now, but you also live in the future.
Yeah, the future is now.
Yes. You live now,
Yes.
but physically, you're alive right now, but who is it to say that you will not wake up in one of your children's lives 1,000 years from now? May not be conscious of it, but you are you right now. Your children are you too, right?
In a
They're
sense.
going on into the future. Yeah, they're going on into the future.
In a sense.
Because they are you.
But, and I
because
say,
your genes, your blood, your everything, physically,
are
your
in
mind
them, right.
are in them.
Well,
Okay.
you have children. I have children,
Sure.
and all of them are different. All of my children are different. But I see shades of me in each and every one of them. I promise you that. The rest of you may not be like that, but in my life, I see shades of my children in me. Every last one of them, I see that.
But this is
So when I say that's what I mean in terms of genetic genes and all of that.
Well,
And
sometimes,
also, let me just say this too. And also, when I'm talking about, I agree with you on the future. And when I say the future is now, that's a twist on words, of course. But I'm talking about planning for the future in terms of the way, well, I haven't been the greatest father in the world, but I've gotten better as I've gotten older and learned more and gotten more experience. So the grandchildren come into play. Therefore, I will do better with my grandchildren than I did with my children, but I'm doing very good with my children right now because they love me, and I know that, and they demonstrate that in spite of my flaws and mistakes in the past, because I have made up for all of that stuff. So, but I was just talking about family. When I agree that family creates wealth, and children join them in creating wealth, or at least that's an ideal situation. But continue, Talu.
well, the point that I'm making is, this is not, what I'm speaking of is general.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And I preluded my statement on the fact that cultures around the world outside of the African American culture, which is a slave culture,
Yes.
by the way,
Yes.
we really don't know. We
Right.
really have no idea what relationship really means. We have no concept of it. We're just going on not a culture, but on a lesson. In other words, the relationships that we have are based on information that's passed down from mother to daughter, from father. I scratched that. Fathers don't pass down much knowledge in the black community, but from mother to daughter, just passing down how you treat a man. This is how you treat a man. Don't let no man do this. Don't let no man do that. You know, and this kind of stuff is just a mixture of poison that eventually caused that daughter to have to enter into a dozen relationships because she's following her old ancient slave great grandmother's philosophy based on what she have seen on this slave plantation of how men are treated. That's false knowledge. So what happens is they pass this false, our black women pass this false knowledge down from generation to generation that doesn't produce anything. See, case in history, what has it produced? Where are we with this knowledge that's being passed down from generation to generation? What has it gained us?
Yes.
Nothing.
Yeah.